ride horses when I lived in Georgia. How'd you see me get on the horse, you would think, oh, that girl's a natural. She is good. Had you stuck around to see me get off the horse, you would notice sweat dripping down my face and me backing up as much as I could away from that big beast. Maybe it's because I'm small. Or maybe it's because when I'm sitting on top of the saddle, I know that in my hand I hold the key to controlling this massive but gentle animal. The bit is a small instrument in the get-up of a horse's equipment, but yet it is the key to controlling which direction it moves. It's the same with ships. No matter how big the ship is, or how much it carries, or how strong the weather is that day, it is controlled by a very small helm or steering wheel. How? These examples illustrate how the next few verses have haunted me for many years. In short, it says, "The tongue is a little member, but how great a matter a little fire kindleth. And the tongue is a fire that no man can tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison." Now, regardless if you believe the source that these verses are coming from, I think we can all agree that at one point in our life, we have all let our tongue get away with us. Am I right? Who in here has had an experience where you just let your tongue lash out on someone? You just had to say that one thing. When I was in high school, my nickname was Mouth of the South. I earned that nickname. I talk a lot. I still do. But imagine how much I talk now and triple that. That's how much I talk. Being involved in a lot of people's lives, you start to get involved with their trials and their challenges too. I think that's where the trouble comes in. Because they always want to have some advice. They always want to hear what you got to say. But then when you get to saying what you want to say, they don't want to hear it. How can we be so kind and just one moment, and yet our surly tongues best us the next? I can't tell you all the many times my mouth has gotten me into trouble. Like last night. Not written in my speech, by the way. I am one of those really loud blunt mouths that has to say exactly how they feel right then, or I feel like I'm gonna burst. Following that outburst, there is a moment of satisfaction. And then a world of regret. It seems the better I know a person, the more likely I am to do this. I think, this person won't mind. They love me. They know I love them. I'm not going to hurt them. But I am always wrong about that. No one likes to hear corrections. No one likes criticism. No one likes to be told they are doing something wrong. And I seem to have a full bucket of corrections, criticisms, and things that they should do my way. Essentially, what we say is the epitome of who we are. Even though a very small member, like I said, a tongue is a fire. We may do many kind deeds in life, like serving at a soup kitchen or volunteering at the blood drive. We may even change a person's life for the better. But as soon as we let our surly tongues lash out and our tongues get the best of us and make horrible decisions, those kind deeds seem to burn and turn to ash. Later in this chapter I was reading from, it also says, "Out of the same mouth proceedeth blessing and cursing. Doth a fountain send forth at the same place sweet and bitter water?" aha moment as I was reading these verses. How can I profess to be one person, but allow myself to let these daggers and swords escape my tongue? I thought of all the many broken relationships where I had to say that last thing and scare them to high heaven. And all the many arguments I had with my parents. And to top it off, I slammed the door too. Who would I be today if I would have found some duct tape for my mouth? What relationships and friendships could I have prevented from harm if I would have just closed this mouth of the South? Unfortunately, I have had many experiences where bitter water has flowed fitfully from my mouth. And although I realized that talking about this weakness and remembering all these experiences don't really help me much, I do realize that there is power in recognition of your weaknesses. And this is one that I have. I think taming the tongue will not be easy for me. But I think of all those times where my tongue has gotten me into trouble, times where my tongue has ruined relationships for good, and I'm sure it will be worth it. Madam Toastmaster.